We are sitting now with Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Welcome to The Skeptic's Guide.
It's my first time on the program. Thanks for having me.
I've been dying to have you on our show for a long time, actually. And I knew that you were when I saw you.
So why did it take so long?
Well, I saw you were the keynote speaker here.
You're a busy man.
I knew this would be the golden
I feel
opportunity.
unloved.
How could you feel in love when you are the sexiest astrophysicist in the world?
Well, that was 7 years ago.
Oh, well. I think
Have you been dethroned, or are you still on?
Actually, they haven't repeated the category.
There you
So
go.
I guess that means I'm...
champ.
Yeah, you closed it out.
I don't know. We had Carolyn Porco last year, I think. She's a hot
A
little
colleague
number.
of mine, yeah.
But the vest you're wearing, I say, has to put you...
It's a little loud. This is my cosmic vest with bright sun and moon bursts on it. But I've grown accustomed to wearing it, and people, have grown accustomed to seeing it to the point where they even expect it. So I'm happy to wear it. Although, since it's thick cloth, we are in Las Vegas, where it's 105 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It's not really the right thing.
That's right.
But we should all have these conferences in bathing suits or something.
Next year in the pool.
Poolside lecture,
Right.
Wow.
So, just for our listeners, Neil deGrasse Tyson is the director of the Hayden Planetarium.
But before I'm that, I'm actually just simply an astrophysicist.
An astrophysicist.
Yeah.
I was going to put that next.
Oh, sorry.
Author
Okay.
of several books. Why don't you go ahead and plug your books right now? Tell us about your books you've written on astrophysics.
Well, my most recent one, the one that's sort of most available and most widely read, actually, is Death by Black Hole, now available in paperback. And that one is 10 years collected of my most requested and my personal favorite essays that I've written for Natural History magazine. And it's surprising that they could come together as a book, because normally it would just be piecemeal, but this one wasn't. There were enough essays that became chapters that had cross themes and resonance with other parts that it became a whole in ways that I didn't even anticipate beginning it. And the title chapter is a rather graphic description of what would happen to you as you descended into a black hole.
So the word spaghettification must be in there somewhere?
You know!
Cool, I know. I knew it. Just wanted to say that word.
You can't fall into a black hole and not be spaghettified.
Can we get the quick overview?
The quickie, black hole quickie, is as you stand here on Earth, you may know that the force law for gravity will tell you that Earth's force of gravity at your feet is slightly greater than at your head, because your feet are closer to Earth's center. But that difference is not very much, because you are short compared with the radius of the Earth. But a black hole is a very small object. Many of the ones we're talking about here are small. So that as you descend, there comes a point where your height is significant compared with the size of the black hole, or the size of the event horizon of the black hole. And what that means is the gravity at your feet becomes incessantly greater than the gravity at your head. These are what's called the tidal forces, and you begin to stretch. Initially, it might even feel good. We all stretch in the morning, right? But it doesn't stop. And you reach a point where the tidal forces exceed the molecular forces that bind your flesh, and you basically snap into two pieces. And then those two pieces, as they descend, each feel their own growing tidal force, and they snap into two. So you go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, until you're a stream of atoms descending down this abyss. And that's not even the worst of it. The fabric of space and time funnel down to a point, so that as you descend, you're actually getting extruded through an ever-narrowing track through space and time, like toothpaste coming out of a tube. And so that process has been knighted, being spaghettified.
So how long would it take? Do we have any idea if somebody did go in? Like, is it a second that it would happen?
Take.
Depends on the size of the black hole.
Yeah, depends on the size of the black hole. It would take minutes, not seconds. You're falling great distances.
Doesn't time slow down as you approach the center?
For other people
outside.
watching you,
okay.
But for you, you just fall straight in.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're only going to survive maybe 15, 20 seconds.
Well, I kept trying to invent some kind of rotisserie. Right? Because if you're rotating fast, you're not going to stretch in one way that sustains. But I'm working on that.
Okay. one thing at a time.
Yeah. But what the point of the book is more than just how... By the way, that chapter comes from a section called When the Universe Turns Bad, All the Ways the Cosmos Wants to Kill Us. But what the book is really about is a celebration of science and how to ask questions about the universe and how we've come to learn what we know about the universe. And I've gotten great feedback on it, which pleases me greatly, because when I wear my scientist educator hat, as opposed to just pure scientist hat, I value those comments in people, because it means that I'm doing the right thing, or at least what it is they want or expect.
I think that's your role seems to be so important. I've seen you on the Daily Show, and you can transition from that to a more serious environment, and you do it so smoothly.
It's hard, but thanks for noticing that it's smooth, because it was hard to make it smooth.
Yeah.
That was effort. It's to go from Jon Stewart to Colbert to NBC News is the three completely different kind of encounters with somebody who's asking you questions. And so I have to come sort of preloaded. And I think it matters. You could do a little homework. At first, you look at previous episodes, look at the pace of the exchange of comments, and make a judgment as to what you can expect for yourself, given the content you're carrying to the table. I don't think enough people do that. Certainly not enough of my colleagues do it. And they might be taken aback or surprised by some line of questioning when they could have just done a little bit of homework. So I encourage my colleagues to do a little bit of that research before they enter.
How much were you influenced by Carl Sagan in that respect?
I was already shaped knowing what I wanted to do when I grew up. At the time I first met Carl Sagan, I was in high school. But my application to college at Cornell, little did I know, after I'd been accepted, it was forwarded to his office. And he wrote me a personal letter saying,
awesome.
I was like, this is the Carl Sagan that was on like Johnny Carson? It can't be. Is it, is this a forgery?
You still have that letter, right?
Of course I still have that letter. And he said, I understand you've been accepted to Cornell. If you find it in your schedule to visit, let me know in advance. I'd be happy to meet you and show you around the lab.
So you were there the next day, right?
It was maybe 3 weeks later. I made the time, went up there, and sure enough, he met me outside the building, brought me in, and brought me to his office. And I never forget, he reached behind him and pulled out one of his books and signed it and handed it to me. And I said, that is so cool. He's got one of his books, like in arm's reach behind his desk. And and on my way home, at the end of the day, it started to snow. He took me drove me to the bus station. Oh, wow. He said, if the bus can't make it through, here's my home phone. Call me. You can spend the night until the weather clears. And I thought to myself, I'm nobody. What's he doing this for me for? And to this day, I don't know if the audience, I just banged the table. to this day, I treat students the way he treated me, because he had no prior reason to treat me as anything. But somehow I mattered to him. And I try to make sure that students matter to me because of that encounter. In that way, he was influential beyond measure.
So you have books behind your desk and you hand them out?
No, they come in and I pull out the books. That's exactly it. I think of that moment. Moment.
We joked at the beginning about you being, voted the sexiest astrophysicist. But after just listening to your keynote speech at 10, which was awesome, by the way, which was, to me, it was as entertaining as a stand-up comic, but a scientist who's also a stand-up comic, or just a polished entertainer.
Steve said to me, I'm glad I'm not following him today.
I got a day. People will forget.
Actually, although I'd like to distinguish myself from a stand-up comic in the following way.
Okay.
I will not hesitate at finding humor in the universe, but I don't go out of my way to tell a joke.
Yeah.
I didn't tell any jokes today, right? Oh, did you hear the one about that? No.
Yeah,
no, it was all flowed out of the content.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot of natural humor out there that gets overlooked because people somehow devalue it. But I think it makes you smile and it makes you remember.
Right. So what struck me was wow, this is a guy who knows how to make science sexy, and how important that is in our culture. How conscious is that? How did you set out and say, I'm going to make science sexy for the public?
No, I am bringing science to the public the way I brought science to myself. That's all I'm doing. And it's what I saw in science that seduced me, and I'm gonna and that's what I'm doing with the public. And if it seduces them, that's great. But that's not a separate recipe that I'm bringing to the public that didn't come to me.
You're just doing what comes natural.
What feels right. I mean, I pay attention to whether people are paying attention to what I say. Did their eyebrows go up? Did their pupils dilate? Did they smile? Did they chuckle? And so I will select content that best serves that path of interest. And fortunately, I can do that and still be on the frontier of science. I'm not pulling things out of some box just to make you smile. We can talk about the search for life and the Big Bang and black holes and still smile and enjoy it. And these are frontiers. And so there's no lost tracking there.